Hey YouTube, what is up? I have a Dark Magician deck profile for you guys today. I hope you enjoy. Unfortunately, we don't have Eternal Soul yet. That probably comes out in October in the new Legendary Decks collection. But for now, I'm making do in this deck, and it actually does run fairly decent. First up, I run 2 Effect Veiler and 2 Max C. Effect Veiler is good just because it's technically a spellcaster in this deck. You can technically, if you really wanted to, use Effect Veiler to lock your opponent out of spells with something like Secret Village, but that's not really all that effective. That's kind of a joke. Secret Village, though, is a pretty decent card to side in this deck. I wouldn't main deck it because you don't know if your opponents need spell or traps. Anyway, it's a good card. I can make Psyframe Omega if I have a Dark Magician on field by normal summoning this card, so it does lead to some pretty broken plays. I can actually stop my opponent too if I really needed to, and I run 2 Max C just to make my opponent choose whether to stop their plays or take the Max C challenge and give me all the cards I need. I then run 3 Magician's Rod because it's one of the better searchers in this deck. Magician's Rod allows you, when normal summoned, to add a spell or trap to your hand from your deck that lists Dark Magician in its card text, so that's pretty good. You can't add Eye of Timaeus though, that's just one of the stipulations. So it's pretty good though because you can actually add Dark Magical Circle to your hand, so it's a pretty decent play. First turn, open Magician's Rod, activate Magician's Rod, activate Dark Magical Circle, then you just look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you add anything that lists Dark Magician to your hand, and then you go off from there. I see some people like to run Magician's Robe. I don't like to run that. Instead, I run 2 Chocolate Magician Girl. I feel like Chocolate Magician Girl is the better card to run in this deck. It allows you to discard a spellcaster to draw 1 card. Works really well in tandem with Dark Magical Circle because you know what the top cards are on your deck because you get to stack them in any order you want, and you can guarantee your draw then by basically just having this card on the field and activating this card. Really, really good combo in my mind. Also, when it's attacked, you can special summon a spellcaster from your graveyard to your side of the field, change the attack target to that new spellcaster, then have the attack of your opponent's attacking monster. So you can basically guarantee it won't die. You can guarantee you'll special summon a Dark Magician, and if you have this on your field, you can then banish a card on top of all that. Pretty good combos nonetheless, and I love drawing in this deck, which is why I run this card. I then run 2 Summoner Monk. It can technically special summon Chocolate Magician Girl, and it can technically summon Elemental Hero Prisma, which is one of my favorite cards in this deck. Elemental Hero Prisma, what it allows you to do is basically send Dark Magician from your deck to the graveyard, then this card on the field becomes Dark Magician for all intents and purposes. So it really works well. You can use Eye of Timaeus with it, you can use Dark Magic Attack with it, you can use Thousand Knives with it, so it's pretty good. You can also do that combo which I just said where Summoner Monk summons Prisma, send a Dark Magician from your deck to the graveyard, and then what you can do is XYZ these 2 into Daigusto Emerald, and then special summon that Dark Magician you just sent to the graveyard onto your side of the field, triggering cards like Dark Magical Circle. So there are some pretty broken plays. Most of them do revolve around Dark Magical Circle though because it's just such a broken card in this deck. I then run 3 Magician of Dark Illusion because it is a really good card. It basically special summons itself for free from your hand whenever you resolve a spell or trap on your opponent's turn. Pretty nice. You do run some traps, you do run some quick play spells, so it is always a good card to run. Also, if you resolve a spell, card, or effect while this card is face up on the field, you can special summon a Dark Magician from your graveyard, so this can lead to some pretty busted XYZ plays as well. I then run 1 Palladium Oracle Mahad because it's a good card to draw. It is a really easy way to out to Dark Destroyer because if I draw this card, I can immediately special summon it by revealing it, and if this card battles a dark monster, I can double its attack in the battle phase, which is really nice. Also, if this card is destroyed by monster or card effect, I get to special summon a Dark Magician. So either I take out Dark Destroyer, or Dark Destroyer pops it, and then I get a Dark Magician to the field, activating Dark Magical Circle, and I banish from there. I don't like running more than 1 because it will definitely make you brick, because this card needs to be drawn not during your first hand, otherwise you really can't special summon it, because if you draw this in your opening hand, you'd have to ditch it with Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars, because that's all it's useful for at that point. Also, in case I forgot to mention it, Magician of Dark Illusion is treated as Dark Magician on the field, so when you do special summon him from your hand, you can trigger Dark Magical Circle. Another fun play to do. I also then run 3 Dark Magician. You can't run any less than this in this deck. I run 3 Dark Magician just because you have to. I would run 4 if I could. I feel like that would make this deck run better. Most of the cards you really need a Dark Magician in hand to resolve, or at least make your plays better with. I wish I could run 4 of this card. I actually had the opportunity to pick up 3 DDS Dark Magicians, but I didn't. It was just too much money, so I decided to run the secret rares from the original tin. That's the best I could do at this point, but I'm really happy with the way they look, and I'm really happy with how they function in this deck, because the whole deck is literally just centered around those cards. And now for the spell cards that I run 3 Dark Magical Circle just because it's absolutely busted in this deck. It's the best Dark Magician support by far. When it's activated, you'll get the top 3 cards of your deck, add any card that lists Dark Magician in its text to your hand, Or if it's Dark Magician, you get to add Dark Magician to your hand as well. Then you get to reorder the top cards in any order you want. That's a really decent combo you get to use with Chocolate Magician Girl, because you can add a Dark Magician to your hand if you didn't have a Spellcaster in your hand, and then dish the Spellcaster to draw the next card that you really wanted. I wish Dark Magician had more support cards like this, because if we did, the deck would definitely be tier 1, possibly tier 0, but for now I'd say it's like tier 2, tier 2.5, more of a for fun deck than anything else really. Also, when you special summon a Dark Magician, you can banish one card on your opponent's side of the field. It does target though, so you can't banish Dark Destroyer with it, though you can use it to get rid of pesky back row, which I do really like. I hate back row in this format, especially with Demise. Too many people get too many cards on the field in my mind. I then run 2 Eye of Timaeus. I feel like 3 made me brick too much. It's a really good card, although it's not searchable by Magician's Rod or by Dark Magical Circle, so I have to draw this card, but I felt like I was drawing it too much even then, so that's why I only run 2. I do actually have 3 of these Italian First Eds, but I really felt like I bricked too much with it, and I don't want to really rely on Eye of Timaeus as a play, because it's not that great a play in my mind, because sometimes in certain matchups it really isn't the best play you can make, and if that's the only play you can make, that kind of sucks. So I like to be able to make rank 7 plays if I can, or rank 4 plays, but relying on Eye of Timaeus is not something I like to do, it's an option I like to have. I don't want it to be my only play. And then for my draw card combo, I run 2 Allure of Darkness, and I run 1 Upstart and 1 Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars. I feel like this is a decent proportion to run. I don't want to banish too many of my cards. Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars I like because I can literally get rid of a dead Mahad in my hand and draw 2 for free, so I basically just thin my deck for nothing. Same reason I run Upstart, and Allure of Darkness, the reason I run more of these than Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars is because I only run 7 level 7 monsters in my deck. Allure of Darkness, I run a lot more darks. I run basically I think 12 darks in my deck. So Allure of Darkness does come in handy a lot more. I like Allure of Darkness more because you draw first. This card you need the level 7 in hand. This card you can draw into the dark card that you banish. So I think Allure of Darkness is a little bit better, especially with the fact that I run more darks than I do level 7s. And then for the 1-ofs in my deck, I run 1000 Knives, 1 Dark Magic Attack, just because both of them are searchable, and I really don't use them that much. I don't think I need more than 1 Dark Magic Attack. If I'm going for an OTK, that's what I save my Dark Magic Attack for. I don't really want to waste it earlier than that. 1000 Knives is good because it's non-targeting destruction, unless there's an errata that I don't know about. I then run 1 Illusion Magic because you need Dark Magician in your hand for most of the plays that you're doing. I then run 1 Instant Fusion because I run 1 Norden, and I like the rank 4 plays in this deck. I like to Daigusto Emerald my Dark Magician back. I like to get Dark Magician to the field any way possible, and Instant Fusion does definitely help with that. Also, Soul Charge helps with that, and so does Dark Magical Veil, or Dark Magic Veil. If you don't know what this card does, you basically special summon a Dark Spellcaster from your graveyard to your field by paying 1000 life points. It's basically a shittier Return of the Dragon Lords. I don't know why Blue Eyes is getting such busted support, and we get this crap, but I can special summon Dark Magician with it, so it's not that bad. I just wish it protected my cards a little better. And then because we don't have Eternal Soul, I run 2 Call of the Haunted, and 3 Magician's Navigate. Magician's Navigate is probably one of the better support cards as well, though you do need Dark Magician in hand to resolve it, which kind of sucks. You special summon Dark Magician from hand, then special summon Dark Magician from deck. You could also use its graveyard effect the turn after it was sent to the graveyard. Basically, what its effect does is anytime your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can banish this card to negate it as long as that card is face up. Technically speaking, I think it works like Siegfried, I might be wrong, but if they activate like a Raigeki, I'm pretty sure you can banish this because Raigeki's still face up by the time you banish this card, so you can technically negate Raigekis with this card. Really nice. It's also a good card to bring back with Cyframe Omega because it's basically one of your defensive plays. And then for the extra deck, I like to run 2 Amulet Dragon. It's a Eye of Timaeus target, obviously. I like it because I banish spell cards in my opponent's graveyard. If I can banish all the spell cards in a Monarch player's graveyard, they will cry because they can't special summon Prime back. It's a good card in certain matchups, but not in others. I do like to run 2 though, because in the matchups where it's useful, I will want more than 1. Same thing for Dark Paladin, which is why I run 2 of them as well. Plus this is a Dark Magician deck, and it's not really built to be 100% meta relevant, but Blue Eyes is a big deal, and Dark Paladin does help with that. Dark Paladin does also have the effect that most people forget about, that you can discard a card to negate an opponent's spell card from activating, so that's good too. And if you go up against Blue Eyes, you basically guarantee you're gonna 1 turn punch them for about 8k, because his attack just gets so high by the time they go through half their deck and send all their stones and send half their Blue Eyes to the graveyard with things like Dragon Shrine. All they're doing is helping out Dark Paladin, and they don't even know it. I then like to run 2 Ebon Illusion Magician because it's one of my offensive plays in this deck. You detach a material, special summon a normal spellcaster from your deck or hand to the field. You can use it to then basically activate cards like Dark Magical Circle, banish 1 card your opponent controls because you're special summoning Dark Magician more often than not. Then on top of that, if a normal spellcaster type monster you control attacks in the battle phase, you can banish 1 card your opponent controls mid-attack. So you can actually attack, basically target the card that your monster is attacking to banish it, then you have a replay and you can attack with the same monster on a different card your opponent controls. So you basically get to banish one of your opponent's cards for free, on top of banishing another card they control with Dark Magical Circle. I then run one Ebon High Magician because it's the defensive play for this deck. It allows me to activate quick play spells and traps from the hand, so that's actually really good. As a turn 1 defensive play, I could do that. It's really decent to activate Magician's Navigate from hand. You can activate other cards as well. You can activate, technically speaking, Twin Twister, all that kind of stuff from hand if you wanted to, even though I don't run it in this deck. Your build can, incorporate any cards you want, because that's really what this is. This is more of a for fun deck, so play it the way you want. That's really all that matters, to be honest with you. If you're enjoying it, that's good enough. And then for the rest of the rank 7s, I run one Big Eye because I can steal my opponent's monsters. I run one Draco Sack for defensive capabilities, and then I also run one Red Eye's Flare Metal because I love burning my opponent. It's a very defensive card. It makes your opponent think out their plays and how many times they're going to get burned before they actually get to get rid of this card. The fact that it can't be destroyed by card effects is also really good. They can't Raigeki it away. They have to swing over it. Burning for 500 every time they activate an effect really does slow a lot of people down. I then, for my rank 4 engine, like to run one Elder Entity Norden, just for the rank 4 plays, for obvious reasons. Special summon anything level 4 from my graveyard back to the field. I run one Bujintai Tsukiyomi, just because I need to draw in this deck, and sometimes it's worth discarding a card to draw 2. And if it's the only play I could really make, I can set all my spells and traps, keep one in hand, activate Bujintai Tsukiyomi, and then draw 2 on top of that. So it's alright. It's basically a last ditch. I then run one Kirin Gorgon as well, because the fact that I can change my opponent's targeting allows me to pop their own cards with their own effects. If I have Dark Magical Circle on the field and they decide to MST it, Kirin Gorgon can just make them destroy one of their own cards instead. People kind of forget about this card. I really like it, especially because it's basically one of the Gem Knights. I think it's the Gem Knight Diamond or whatever his name was. I then run one Daigusto Emerald. I'm probably going to bump this up to 2. I just got to find what I want to take out. Most likely it will be Bujintai Tsukiyomi, but for now, one Daigusto Emerald does work well enough. You don't want to really rely too much on the rank 4s, just because you really want to focus on special summoning Dark Magician as much as possible, and the combo involving Summoner Monk is a really easy one to interrupt and stop, especially if your opponent brings out something like Stormforth. Your combo pretty much dies. I then run one Ciphering Lord Omega. For the late game, if I don't need the Effect Veiler, I'll normal summon it, bring out Omega, and then just keep looping back my Magician's Navigate to the graveyard, negating spells and traps my opponent has along the way. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, don't forget to follow me on Twitter @Schwabs, or like my Facebook page to see when I post these videos. And if you really liked it, don't forget to click subscribe because it's free, it's fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.